Nick Cave's son Jethro Lazenby has died aged 30, the musician said today, 7 years after the star's 15-year-old son Arthur fell to his death from a cliff in Brighton. Jethro, who lived in Melbourne, had been released from prison on bail 2 days before his death after being jailed for leaving his mother bruised and bleeding after kneeing her in the face during a row over cigarettes. "With much sadness, I can confirm that my son, Jethro, has passed away," Cave said in a statement this afternoon. "We would be grateful for family privacy at this time." The Australian singer, best known as the frontman of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, was first struck by tragedy in July 2015 when Arthur fell 60 feet to his death from a cliff in Ovingdean, near Brighton. The 15-year-old, described by his family as a beautiful, happy, loving boy, had been taking the hallucinogenic drug LSD, an inquest later heard. Jethro was born to his Melbourne-based model mother Bo Lazenby in 1991, who was in a relationship with Cave at the time. He had been released on bail from Melbourne Remand Centre on Thursday after a magistrate ordered he undergo substance abuse treatment and avoid contact with her for 2 years. "I do say to you that it's entirely in your best interests to participate with all support services that I've set up for you," Magistrate Donna Baco said. "It's very important that your path to rehabilitation will be a much more positive one, and therefore you will be less of a risk to the community at large and in particular to your mother." Jethro's lawyer, Sean Gaddis, said he has been diagnosed with schizophrenia and that affected his judgment. Cave has 2 other sons, Luke, 30, from his first marriage to Brazilian journalist Viviane Carneiro, and URL, 21, from his marriage to Susie Dick, who he wed in 1991. Roles in 2007 film Corroboree and 2011's My Little Princess, starring Isabelle Huppert, but suffered from personal problems for some years after struggling with his mental health. Despite using his father's name to drive his own modeling career, Jethro has said in the past he didn't meet Cave until he was 7. The 30-year-old was jailed earlier this year following an assault on his mother, Bo Lazenby, in Melbourne. She had found her troubled son at her front door just after midnight on March 7, before he convinced her to allow him to stay the night. The following morning the pair got into an argument where Jethro kneed his mother in the face, causing bleeding and bruising. He admitted 1 count of unlawful assault and breaching court orders after other charges were struck out following a deal with prosecutors, the Herald Sun reported. Jethro's lawyer Mr. Gaddis asked his sentence be time served and for him to be released from prison, but Magistrate Donna Baco's replied, "I'm not sure I agree with you." She noted his considerable criminal history, which includes a series of violent assaults on his girlfriend in 2018 which saw him spend time in jail. The court heard Cave's son had screamed, "I'm going to murder you" 3 times while holding the woman down. Cave and his wife, Susie, relocated from Brighton to Los Angeles in the wake of Arthur's death, before returning to England. Last year, the rocker was asked on fan Q&A site Red Hand Files why he had decided to move away from Brighton. In response, the star spoke of his Bad Seeds track Heart That Kills You, which he said was clearly written while he was grieving for Arthur. The words of the song go some way toward articulating my Susie, his wife, and I moved from Brighton to LA, Cave explained. Brighton had just become too sad. We did, however, return once we realized that, regardless of where we lived, we just took our sadness with us. These days, though, we spend much of our time in London, in a tiny, secret